So Chef, what are we making today?
Today we're making zucchini chocolate chip cookies. It's a great twist on your traditional chocolate chip cookie, but it's great because there's zucchini in it, so children will get that great nutritional value.
Great. So where do we start?
First we're going to start by we have to cream our butter. Now creaming the butter is just, you want room temperature butter that's been sitting out for a little while. We're going to do 1 cup of unsalted butter. Now whenever you're baking or you're cooking, you really want to use unsalted butter because it takes away from the extra saltiness and stuff like that. And we're going to put it with 2 cups of sugar.
That's just white sugar?
Just
regular?
plain white sugar. We're just going to turn our mixer on. What happens is when it's creaming, it's actually mixing your sugar and your butter together, and it's going to make it nice and smooth so you don't have those gloppy chunks in it. Okay. So while our butter is creaming right now, we're going to start mixing our dry ingredients.
Okay.
With our dry ingredients, we have 4 cups of all-purpose flour. You want to adjust it to whole wheat flour to bring in another nutritional value. You're going to have to adjust your recipe just a little bit accordingly.
Okay.
And then we're going to add a little bit of salt, a teaspoon of salt, some baking soda.
And what does the baking soda?
Baking powder.
And what does that do?
It helps elevate. It gives it a nice height and it makes it so it's not so dense. We just added the ground cloves, the cinnamon, and the nutmeg.
Okay.
And we're just going to just stir all of that together. And our butter is at a nice creaming. It's pretty cream right now. It's nice and smooth. And we're going to crack 2 eggs right into. Let that beat up just a little bit. And you can see how it slowly starts to incorporate. And we can hit the speed up just a little higher on this so it incorporates a little more. And see how it's nice, silky smooth, that bright color. Mm-hmm. Second egg incorporated. Now this is the part that's very important. We don't want to add all of the flour mixture in all at once. We want to slowly incorporate so you don't get the chunks of flour right in. That's very important because when you're eating a cookie, the last thing you want is somebody to bite into it and then they have flour all over their mouth because it wasn't incorporated correctly. So just little by little, and slowly just start pouring that in. And in between this, if it starts to get too clumpy, what you're going to want to do is just scrape down the sides a little bit. Okay. But as you see, it's nice and smooth. Mm-hmm. You can really start to smell the spices that are in there because, as I said, it's not a traditional chocolate chip cookie. So it's like a spice cookie. It's very, very flavorful. Okay. And it's nice, too, because sometimes if you don't want to add the chocolate chips to it, you can just do it plain and say it's a nice style snickerdoodle cookie. Okay. So something a little different. And you can see how it's really starting to get thicker with the batter and everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape down the sides just a little bit because as you can see, it sticks right to it. And it's a nice batter. It's not like a cake batter. It's going to be nice and thick. Scraping down some of our sides to incorporate right in. A little bit of a scrape. We can add some more flour. Now this is great too if you, when you're cooking with kids, having them add in and the measuring is very, very important because it helps with their math skills and also with their reading skills, right, which is very important. And also too, when kids are in the kitchen cooking, they're going to be more apt to trying new foods and really experimenting with the flavor profiles. And it's like hanging a picture on the refrigerator. Instead, they have a beautiful plate of cookies or, a nice chicken dinner or something that they helped with that they're like all excited to eat. And this is what I made. So
yeah,
it's
that
very
sense of pride.
exciting.
Yeah, that sense of pride.
So just mixing this right up, just a couple more seconds. Okay. And once again, you don't want to rush adding the flour in. It's very, very important. And part of baking is making a mess, so it's really okay. See, as you can see, it's really starting to form that cookie batter that we all love and shouldn't eat raw at all due to the raw eggs, of course.
And what if we don't have a stand mixer like this?
You can always use a hand mixer.
Okay.
It is fine. And also, too, when cooking with kids, one thing that's always fun, they can mix it with their hands. And that can also help with some of their motor skills, too, with the mixing of the hands and everything. So as you can see, it's starting to get very, very thick, and that's exactly what we're looking for. I'm going to just turn the speed up just a little bit. Now, one thing is we have 2 cups of shredded zucchini. Now, this is a great recipe, especially in the summertime if you have gardens and everything. The kids can go out and choose their own zucchini. You don't, if you're not a fan of zucchini, squash works. I've also done this with broccoli. With broccoli, you want to cut the recipe in half because broccoli is so pungent.
Okay.
So it has that flavor profile that you're like, oh yeah, it's broccoli, here we go. So you want to be careful with that. But you can pretty much use a lot of different vegetables and stuff. Carrots are also great with this. And you can see the dough that's perfect cookie dough that we're looking for. Now with this, you can by hand mix in the zucchini, or else I like to put it in the mixer. And the reason for that is it breaks it up even more. Sometimes kids will see something green and they'll be like, I'm not touching that. This kind of hides it a little more.
Okay.
Just mixing it right up. Incorporate all of that right in. Also too, when I do this, I don't strain the juices out. It's the nutritional aspect of it, but also too, it moistens the cookie dough a little bit so you don't have that dry cookie. Sometimes you have that hard cookie that you're like, oh, I want a little softer. And at this point, we have our zucchini mixed in. We're gonna add a little bit of vanilla because you have to have vanilla with cookies. And then we have some dark chocolate. Now with the dark chocolate chips, if you want to use milk chocolate, you're more than welcome, but the dark chocolate, once again, that nutritional value. Dark chocolate is always good for us, it's good for the heart, and it's yummy. Right? I mean, come on. It's chocolate! Right? So, we're just going to add those right in. It's all mixed really well. And right here we have our sheet pan, and I line it with parchment paper. The reason why is it makes it easier. It's not going to catch your house on fire or anything. The nice part about parchment paper, cleanup. All right, I'm a chef. I don't mind the cleanup, but that's why I have relatives when I'm cooking in their kitchens to help me clean up. But the parchment paper, it helps so it doesn't really stick, so you don't really need to use pan spray. You can if you like, but it's an easier, quick release with that.
And not using the spray also will not add extra fat and
correct
to the cookie.
The one thing we will use the spray for, so we have, oh, look at that, that's so yummy looking. The one nice trick is to have equal size cookies, you know, even though they're homemade and stuff, a nice ice cream scoop style, or they have cookie scoops and everything. An ice cream scoop does the same thing with your little slotted handle. And what you want to do, because this dough, as you can see, it's very sticky and tacky, and you don't want to get stuck in there, so just a little pan spray right in there, rub it right there. We can just a little scoop, nice little pops. And this is also great for kids too. They can help you scoop it right on there. Once again, you know, oh, how many can we put on a tray? Help with our counting and stuff like that. We want to use bigger cookies or make bigger cookies. You can also use a bigger scoop. This is just about a 2-ounce scoop. Scoop them right up. And we'll do one more row. And then at 375, you want to bake this in the oven. If it's a convection oven, you want to do about 25 degrees less because of the circulating air of a convection oven. All right, so we're just going to put these right in the oven. And here we go.
And Chef, how long would those bake?
About 10 to 12 minutes, once again, depending on your oven. Only you know your oven and your range at home, so you can kind of finagle the time as needed. For me, I like to do them right at 10 minutes because I like a nice soft cookie, but sometimes, you know, personal preference, if you like your cookie a little firmer and stuff, a little longer. Okay. But it's a great, tasty cookie. There we go. Put them right there. And of course, you need to try one.
Of course I
hot out of the oven. And what a great snack to have. You have a little nutritional value to it. Added with some whole milk. It's a yummy treat for the kids.
That's really good. You can taste all those spices in there.
And you can't really taste the zucchini. You know it's there, but the spices and everything really kind of take over the cookie, and it makes it a nice flavorful treat.
It's got that crispy outer edge and that chewy middle. It's so good. I'm gonna try these with my daughter at home.